Welcome, everybody, to the second episode of the High Five Guys podcast. So excited you wanted to listen to us again. We are here to bring some positive vibes and high fives to you, your friends, people you don't know in the universe. And I am so excited to be joined by my friend Todd, who is the co-host of High Five Guys
Yep,
podcast.
here I am.
Todd,
Here I am.
there he is.
I am here. Yep. I made it.
And you're
I've been
I'm
driving
glad
around.
you did.
I've been driving around New York and New Jersey and stuff today, but yep, I made it. I'm here.
Dude, world traveler, at least U.S. traveler, East Coast traveler,
Tri-state traveler today. Yeah.
No, that's more than I've traveled. I actually have not driven a car yet today, and usually I'm in the car once a day. So
I'm sure you ran somewhere, right? You made up for it with your feet.
I did.
Yeah,
I did. I ran about 4 miles, just over 4 miles today. So
whoa, is that
yeah?
I mean, how normal is that these days? Is that pretty heavy, or is that's all in a day's work?
I don't want to say light work, but that's a good amount of mileage. Usually I'll do like a mile and a half, maybe two, a couple days, but then I'll throw in somewhere between 4 and 7. Okay. And yeah. So
this is ramping it up a little. Okay. Yeah.
felt good today. So cool. That was good. And then I'm Chris, and shoot, we are here to have some fun. And I think what's super exciting today, we've got a great episode for you. It's going to be a lively topic, I'm sure, and hopefully resonate with you all. But first off, we just want to talk about what's new. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Cómo estás? What's going on. But I know we'll start off with Todd. And Todd, so what is new in your world?
All right, sorry. I'm actually throwing one more. I'm throwing one more gear into it. What do you call that? Wait, how do you say that? Monkey wrench. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
New mic. So I'm testing out a new mic today. As we know, we're trying different technical setups and stuff. So this is actually like a mic that's designed to be used on stage. This is like a live performance mic.
Professional mic.
Well, performance as opposed to like studio. It's not like a podcasting mic by any means. Yours would be called much more like a podcasting mic with the USB connection or whatever. Yeah, this is considered like a live on stage performance mic. But I think we'll see. I don't know. I'm comparing it to another one that was more of a studio mic last week. So I'm just gonna cycle through a few, and when I hate my audio the least, that's the one I'll settle on. I have a bunch of options. I've been into this music stuff. I fell into just obsession with microphones and everything. So I have a bunch that I can try. There's a good 3 or 4 different ones I can try. Yeah. So sorry, that was an extra topic, but
I love it.
Yeah, new for me. I mean, this will be a funny sort of life update. Is it leads into some other stuff. Layoffs. So there was layoffs. Shit. Yeah, I was at a company for about 2 years, financial industry, and basically like with interest rates, we do loans, right? And so when the interest rates are very low, it's really good for our business. When interest rates are high, it's really bad for our business. We're kind of like just directly affected. It's a 1-to-1 relation. And when they're high, we just saw it, like all of a sudden, all the talk from like, yes, everybody high-fiving each other, bonuses flying around. It suddenly just became, we're in cost-cutting mode. And we had a round of layoffs. Yep. I don't remember exactly. I think it was January or something. And then just another one like a week and a half ago. And that one got me. Yeah, I avoided a number of them since I was there, but this one got me. So, yeah.
Yeah, the corporate layoffs too, especially what you hear the last couple of years have been, brutal, maybe to say the least, but some of them have been, unforeseen, not at all like, on the horizon, some, maybe a little foreshadowing, but I think we've all had our fair share, whether it's personal experience, right? You or me, it could be just friends of ours that have gone through it. Yeah. It just, no matter the situation or no matter who it happens to, it sucks. That initial shock.
Yeah. And for me, I'm totally fine. Nobody has to shed a tear for me. I'm absolutely fine. Whatever, the financial situation is fine. It's all good. It's totally fine. It's not some devastating type scenario. So yeah, I'm good. But also, what's new on the exact same day? So I was already going golfing. I was taking a half day on the day I found out. They brought me in at like
Yep.
10 in the morning. I had no clue. I mean, it was quite a surprise. I really did
Yeah.
not know because we had the recent layoffs, and yeah, it was just whoa. I was talking to my manager. We had our normal one-on-one, but it took a weird turn. All of a sudden, it just took this somber turn. You heard her tone change because we did like each other.
Like you
We
felt it.
yeah, we had a good bond. We definitely had a good
Yeah.
bond. She's awesome person. Never would say anything bad about her at all. She's one of my
Yeah.
best
Yeah.
bosses
Yeah.
ever by far. Just positive, smart, like everything. She had everything. But yeah, I heard that tone switch, and then next thing I know, like
Oh no.
she was having trouble like going into it. There's like a script sort of, right? And I started hearing in the background, I started hearing just go to the script. Actually heard that.
Wow. So, so much for just like being honest. It's like, oh, wait, we got say bullet point 4.
Yeah.
Say bullet point 4.
And then the HR guy, he was having some weird tech issues. And then all of a sudden he figured it out. So then all of a sudden he comes on screen too. He was supposed, I think they were gonna just have both of them just immediately come on screen. So it would have been, in 1 second I wouldn't know what was going on. But I picked it up after a little bit. But then for sure when I hear him in the background,
so that's a party.
Yeah, it couldn't have been more obvious. Yeah, yes, I knew it was that. And yeah, I was just like, it's okay. But that happened. Oh, but on the same exact day. So as I do the music stuff. I was already going golfing. So I do a lot of this like Wednesdays. It was kind of my pattern last year. Half day, my buddy Kyle, he's always available. We'll go out, play a round of golf.
Yep.
I was already set up to do that. Yeah, that's how I take a lot of my vacation time. I was already set up to do that. And then I just left a little earlier for it. We played our round. I actually had a great round of golf. But afterwards, we booked what is now becoming a recurring gig at a Caribbean restaurant. Yeah. Yeah, Caribbean restaurant.
So cool. That is cool.
Yeah. So
how'd it come about?
I've been there a couple times. This place, amazing food. I really love this place. Like I've been to a decent amount of Caribbean places. It's probably my favorite that I've been to, overall food wise. They just make some amazing stuff. Called roasted breadfruit. Give them a little shout out.
Absolutely. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, they're not far from me.
Good people. It
Wharton,
sounds like.
New Jersey. Yeah. Roasted breadfruit. Awesome place. But, and they without ever knowing what we sounded like or anything, she just gave us a chance. Awesome owner. We just had this great chat with her. We were just vibing, just between Kyle, myself, and her, and gave us a chance without knowing anything, just knowing that like I think she was feeling like our energy, literally on energy. Yeah. She was just like, let's give it a try. And so Friday. So this happened 2 weeks ago. We actually had our first show. That was this past Friday, and I would say it went awesome. Like, immediately after, she's like, so what are you guys doing for the next every other Friday? Like, so
now
recurring gig.
How into it was the crowd? Like, did you feel like, were they the same people you saw at the restaurant, like dinner before, or totally different?
It was some different people. Yeah. Cause it was Friday night. I didn't know. And they do have a tradition there of like, they have this steel pan band that plays.
Nice.
And yeah, they play like once a month on Fridays, and I thought it might be like really super Caribbean. So this is kind of funny because like we kind of prepped for like a very Caribbean crowd, right? So we did a lot of whatever Jamaican type stuff and Afro beats and various things. That wasn't the crowd that showed up at all. So yeah, so it was basically just like a normal show, pretty much. But although we did do the Margaritavilles and red wines and Three Little Birds, Bob Marley and stuff. So
yeah, so some like crowd pleaser type songs you think would be a good
not some obscure reggae or something. Like super mega hits. And I'll show one thing. I'll show it a little later. Yeah, because I've talked about myself for way too long. What's up with you? Let's throw to you for a minute. Yeah, I've been talking your ear off.
No, it's fine. It's good update. For me, the first thing is working on this brand deck. So I have been working on this journey for a few months, if you will, off and on about starting my own business. And I am taking it more seriously than I have before. And you're your own boss. You have to put in the time and effort on getting everything together. So I'm taking a course right now that's talking about online marketing of your new business, if you will. And there's a brand deck, which is very, you know, common in terms of starting your own business. You could call it a business deck, maybe a business plan, but it goes through everything about your business, not only from like logos and artwork to personas. Who do you see you selling this business to, or who would be interested in your services or products? So to actually
Mm-hmm.
taking the time to think about the businesses or the people that you'd be influencing, and then what their life is like, and then how in essence could it be better with what services you offer. It takes time. It takes time, and there's a whole marketing strategy, and I'm probably about halfway through the deck and hope to finish it next week. But it's a little bit of a different language, than what I was used to before. This is all entrepreneurship type activities, and it's exciting. I did end up settling on a logo and on a business name, and hopefully soon, a website. And sure, the website maybe not as important necessarily, but also just some social media type posts and really getting at least the name, the marketing out there for the business. It's called Orange Tie Finance. So that's the name of it.
I love it. I love it.
More to come. I know you've been very helpful in terms of just guidance and some thoughts and strategies on certain aspects. So thank you for that.
Are you ready to show the logo? It's kind of
No.
sweet. No, okay,
I
yeah.
know. Maybe the next episode.
Okay, next one.
Maybe we'll
Yeah,
sprinkle that
exactly. I
in.
think it's really cool. I think you did a great job with that. So yeah, but yeah,
Thank you.
I
Thank
did
you.
like it. He sent me like a bunch of options, and there was actually a number of really good ones. I genuinely liked a bunch of the options, but yeah, settled on the one that I think was I think we agreed was the best, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think very sharp. And I've been working with a mentor through this platform called Score, and went through some of that branding and the logo design, and showed him ultimately what I was going to go forward
Oh
with
yeah. What did
versus
he
some of the
say?
others. And same thing.
He.
He said it looks professional. It's simple and
Mhm.
professional, and then also it's kind of catches your eye because you don't really know what that means. Orange
That
Tie
was the same thing
Finance.
I was saying,
So
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
Yes.
I'd like to know
Yeah.
more.
That's
So
exactly what my impression. That's like how good story of that. Like my brother-in-law is. Like, I think you read something on it, but like like what's an Apple computer? It doesn't mean
yeah,
anything, right? Like, but it makes you think. It makes you stop. Like, what the heck is that? It forces you to stop and think for a second, and
that's
then
right.
they can tell the whole story about what an Apple computer is because they don't have any preconceived notion. The
Yep.
people out in the
Yeah.
world don't have a preconceived
Sure.
notion.
Yeah.
There's no direct
Exactly.
connection to it. So yeah, so you can tell everybody what an Apple computer is. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's
And
sort of that kind of thing.
yeah, I look forward to being more succinct and very pointed with, this is what my business is, this is what we are all about, etc.
Mhm.
And I think it'll be much more fine tuned over the next few
I
weeks.
think you're
So
just looking
excited to
forward to
share more
wearing orange ties.
whenever I can. I mean,
I,
orange is a good color.
yeah.
It's a great color. I did get a new car antenna, so the back
Whoa.
of my car didn't have the antenna there because aesthetically it was very tall. So on roadsters, on
Oh,
coupes, you might have an antenna that kind of sticks out like a sore thumb,
is
and
it
it doesn't.
black or was it
It's
black?
black, and it's
Oh
one
yeah.
of what was there before was black, skinny, but just tall, even taller than the roof line. And so what I ended up
Mm.
getting was, they call it a shorty.
Oh.
And sure, they had a couple different screws depending on the type of vehicle fit it was, but it screwed right in. It looks great. So I did get that. It's a very small purchase, but it was
Uh,
actually, makes me
I
happy.
mean, for me too, I can't remember the last time I actually listened to like the radio. It's actually been a long time now at this
it,
point. So yeah, for me, it would be irrelevant anyway. The antenna
So
itself.
I will say, and for those that don't know, I did get a sport car, if you will, a sports car that's possibly a midlife crisis type of purchase, but No, it's an orange Audi TTS, and it's amazing.
2012 or something, right? Was that the year?
2012.
2012,
Yeah,
yeah.
it 2012.
With low
But
miles.
low miles, but there is some technology that it doesn't have, like in some of the newer cars as well. So that's sort of the give and take. It's a very fun handling car. The top down, it's an amazing experience. I never had a convertible growing up or experienced a convertible. Less than 5 times I can count the times I've been in a convertible before owning this car. So yeah, it's great. And then the other update, I've got here is the first pickleball league started last night. So we've got an outdoor league in Saratoga. They use the course that you and I played on when you were up here one time. And the lights are on. So come 7 o'clock, 7:30, sun's starting to go down a bit. The lights come on, and it's fantastic. So I was on court 1. They've got 10 courts. Court 1 is the best court. Court 10 is, you're working up in skill level, etc. And you got to stay on your court. Top 3 people stay on the first court. The bottom 2 in terms of points go down.
Oh,
next
it's
week.
like that. Wow.
So it's
okay.
like it's a ladder league.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what they call it.
Wow.
So I am staying on court 1 for next week. So
all right.
We have done it.
All right.
We have made it.
Nice.
So yes. Now those are the updates right now. Just quite a fun journey. Fun last couple of days as well. I love the whole you getting to perform at a new venue too. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, what's interesting? Yeah, it is interesting because we've been in a cycle of performing at basically 2 places, right? That's where we've like hosted our own shows. I mean, there's also the open mics that are just around town, and I've even gone all the way over to to PA, which is a state away. It's an hour drive. There's like a brewery and a winery out there. Various places, coffee shops, things like that. But in terms of where we've done our shows, it's been 2 places. It's this one Italian restaurant, Benzi, and a clubhouse around a lake community.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And we've done 7 or 8 at Benzi, or maybe 8's coming up. And then, 3 or 4 at the clubhouse. So yeah, every time it's definitely valuable to go to new places, new crowd, new audio setup, so even me as a little mini budding, sound engineer, you have to figure out the acoustics in that particular room. You have to play to that crowd.
Absolutely.
There's a different vibe. There's just all those things. Right. And I think it's very valuable, just throwing these different variables at yourself. I think it's one of the best ways to get better at the whole thing.
Yeah, terrific. And I know at some point during the episode, if you want to share.
Oh yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, I'll pull it up for a sec. Yeah, I'll show a little snippet right here of just what it looked like if anyone's interested. Here we go. Okay.
So this is Todd
my buddy Kyle and I.
Roasted breadfruit.
That's the owner right there. She's awesome. Minky.
All right, nice.
Ooh, baby, it's a wild world. Always remember you like a child.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Is that a
that's what it looked like.
Is that like a song?
No, it's the first time we did that. First time we did that. We've rehearsed it a few times. We have our rehearsals. We usually get 1 in a week, something like that. It's one we've rehearsed twice. Something like that. Yeah, but we never actually performed it. One thing that's also new there, you can't really see it there, but I had a new speaker. So I have a new, you call it a PA speaker.
Okay.
It's one of these powerhouses. This thing's a 1100 watt. It's stronger than the old kind of what you call an acoustic amp that I had before.
Sure.
So this thing can blast out in an outdoor setting, things like that. So it's actually the first time I was using that speaker, and I thought it held up well. I thought it did well there.
Good. And it sounds like they want you back.
We'll be back. Yeah, we'll be back with a vengeance. We'll be back on a recurring basis. Yeah, I'm psyched for that. It's awesome because that's the indoor, right? And it's this little sort of space. That's pretty crowded. But they have an outdoor patio. And we're just going to be rocking out there. Yeah, Friday nights through the summer.
Let's go, man.
You got to come down. You got to come perform. You got to do some rapping. This guy surprises you with his with his notorious BIGs and stuff. So yeah.
Some good music.
It's going to be fun out there on that back patio for sure. And with the amazing food and everything, it's just, it's really, I'm thrilled to be performing there.
Terrific. No, well deserved. I know you and Kyle, the whole Broken Builds, band team, it's really you two. I know there's some new members as well, but
I mean, you're in the extended family for sure.
That could be a groupie.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're in the crew.
But no, it's good. So that is just awesome that they wanted you there, and certainly the first performance sounds like it went well. So here's to many more.
Yeah. I think we were just in the pocket for whatever reason. Sometimes you just have a good performance, right? And it was one of those for us too. Like we were psyched for it. We put a lot of effort in, and we just whatever. It sounds weird me saying it, but we did well. We executed well on that night too. So sometimes you do. I mean, I'll admit it. If I have a off night, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
but it wasn't that. We were like on. So yeah,
no, that is wonderful. I like your talk about execution. I'll talk about that during the high five at the end.
Okay.
On something.
Yeah. So what do you got? What do you got?
Second topic or second episode here, and wanted to hit home on something that probably each and every one of us have felt. I know you and I have felt. And it's corporate America, and just talking about corporate America, our career journeys, we could call it that, if you will. And I think it's really interesting to go through it, because you and I have had some I'll call it similar experiences, and then some not, right? Different industries, etc. And I think it's interesting just to go through your career progression, what you've done and accomplished, and then how you've transitioned maybe to certain jobs, and maybe even finish it off with sort of what's next. Why don't you kick it off, and
okay.
We could get to know a little bit more about Todd.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I guess I'll go all the way back. Like I went to school for mechanical engineering in Rutgers many moons ago.
I say a tough major though.
It was tough. It is tough. Oh my God. Like, whatever. I did pretty well on SATs and that kind of stuff. Like you could say just context, right? I'm like fairly book smart kind of guy, right? Just put in context.
Sure. Yep.
But I didn't know what true studying was, let's say, like all through high school, right? This is a different level. This is not, you can't just procrastinate everything away and then like last minute. I mean, I'll admit I still did a fair amount of cramming and stuff for exam.
Right.
I definitely crammed for like a calculus exam over like a course of 2 days. I learned like a whole semester in one weekend. So I was bad about that, but it was tough. Like it was actually, I had this one lab class that was just like, it was a few credits, 1 credit or something, and you had to put in 15 to 20 hours a week to get it done.
Wow.
It was that kind of thing. So there was various stuff like that. There was some courses where a 40 was like a pretty good grade. 40 out of 100. That was you did pretty well. You were satisfied with that. If you got like a 50, you're like, you're like ruining the curve if you got a 50 out of 100. Yeah.
But no, some of those majors and some of the like the junior, senior level classes, it's very intense, to your point. And then, so what did mechanical engineering, what did that degree bring you to?
Sorry, that's a bit of a tangent, but so I was looking to go into that field. I mean, it's, we'll say it's a pretty good degree to have, right? To open up doors and things. But at the time it just didn't, I didn't find that job. I didn't have the internships and stuff. A lot of people were really good about that. And they're interning at, whatever, Procter and Gamble or something. They're interning at, some name you've heard of. And then they kind of go into that. I just didn't get it. And then I graduated, my grades were pretty good. Like I was like a 3.3 or something like that. And then, who found me? This company out of nowhere, sort of this consulting type company that was training people to become like web developer consultants and go out in the market. They just kind of found me. Yep. They found me in a pile of like, oh, he has a degree, this is scientific, like just ran, he should have the competency to be able to learn this stuff.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I got into it. And so, I didn't think long and hard about that. I mean, you're talking like kind of leaving behind those 4 years of really busting your butt on some very difficult stuff, crazy calculus and whatever else, and just going in a very different direction. I did a little bit of software development while I was going through engineering, but it wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
And I at first didn't even know if I was going to like it or anything, but yeah, I went with it. And the way they did it was you had this crash course where you just kind of within like a week you learned like the web development stuff, the flavors of the month. I think there was something called Cold Fusion at the time. There was HTML, there was JavaScript, and then there was some of the like oh my god, the like not .NET, but the Microsoft web stuff prior to that.
Okay. So yeah,
ASP pages. Yeah, that was it. So I mean, you wouldn't know that, but some
it's
techie
great.
out
Like
there.
to me, I don't say it's another language, but it's part of it is.
Yeah,
coding language.
But yeah. So but that's how I got. That's how I went in a different direction. That's how I got away from engineering and into like software, into web development. And I went with it, and I didn't immediately get a great job, but then right after that, so that company, like, I don't know, it went in a weird direction. But I ended up getting actually a .com job in the city. So I don't know, you may not know about this one. It was a company called MaritimeDirect.com, and they were going to like revolutionize the shipping industry, right? Which is just really old school.
Yeah.
I mean, think about like sailor type dudes, right? And they were trying to like reinvent that industry, and
that's difficult. I mean,
yeah, and they brought me in. Things were looking pretty good at the time, but then it just didn't work out. They were burning through their startup capital and everything, and even like I had shares. I had like something like 5,000 shares or whatever, but it never amounted to anything because a month and a half after I got there, they laid off like half the company. I got hit in that. Yeah. The tech group that I was in went from 10 to 3 on that day. It was one where you walked in 9 a.m. They brought, or everybody went and talked to like, I think even the CEO talked to a lot of people, CEO and like your manager, whatever.
Okay.
And you either like went left or you went right. And I think I went left.
More people went. Went left.
I went with the left people. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. That was my early foray into it. And then, I've kind of been around a number of different places, but I've stayed within software development, web development, database development, that kind of thing. Touching on like some big data type stuff and some data science type concepts through the years. But I would call like full stack kind of developer. I mean that's where I put myself in that kind. I put myself in that kind of category. Like you're not like a lot of developers. They don't want to do anything related to like the pretty front end, making it look nice, making it the user experience.
They don't want to hear
on
the back end.
Yeah, they just want to do like the hardcore math type stuff. I have no problem like just doing the various parts of it. But so that's that's kind of been a lot of my career, and we that's what I was doing at Mars when our connection to each other, how we know each other. That's what I was doing there, working on the web. But I've been to a number of places, and I've now been. Well, let me turn over to you for a minute, and then I can talk about my layoffs that I've been caught up in. I'll tell you about those stories later. I got a question
for you.
Yeah.
So I just quick so mechanical engineering, like you said, it totally different type of industry ish. There were some similarities, but really it's something different. What was the hardest thing that you felt like you've learned along the way in terms of the industry? Like something that maybe you just didn't even know anything about, and now
in
you
software,
feel like you're seasoned.
Like in software development.
Sure.
Wow, that's a good. Oh, okay. Yeah, I would say, for example, like if you were like where we were at Mars, I actually learned a lot at Mars. That's some of my best experience because it's a true e-commerce site. we were working on the My M&Ms, right, where people are
Yes.
ordering custom designed M&Ms, custom text, custom images on M&Ms, with real amounts of volume, right? Like real thousands of orders in a given day, especially during high season, right? When you're at that sort of volume level, it's a different level of things that you deal with on the technical side. You have, like, things need to run efficiently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or and if you don't create everything in an efficient way, if the page is not designed well, if the database is not designed right, if something's off, by the time that 50th concurrent person is logged onto the site, or that, especially that 100th person, simultaneously, that's a decent amount of people actually, simultaneously doing stuff on a site. It's going to come crashing to a halt. It could just slow down. And so I dealt with a lot of things like that weren't really relevant with some other place. Like, a lot of times I'm working on like some intranet site or something like that, where you think things are going on and maybe you have like 10 concurrent users, but now you're suddenly talking about out in the real world, and sometimes you have 300 people on at one time. Your stuff has to be really efficient, and you have to really know how to find those problems too, like the problem solving skills of finding, like, why is this not working well. I learned a lot of that.
I think that's a great thing, or a great piece to add to that too, because I feel like what's interesting, certainly from my perspective, is actually just getting to know what people do. And we could probably have a whole nother episode like on the intricacies of the job, because to Todd's point, when I did first meet him, when we were working at Mars together, ultimately behind the scenes on a website, a lot of people certainly nowadays don't really care how it works, but there is so much that goes on back then, even using a coupon code and making sure that flows successfully through the order and processes, shows the discount, and me as an end consumer, I want to see that I'm getting 20% off or whatever the case may be. Like, that's, sure, you just click a button, you type in the 20 off, and it goes through, but there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes.
A good website looks really, really simple, and there's a million things going on behind the scenes that you don't see. It's like the duck swimming around on the water, right? You just see this calm little thing, the legs under the water are going crazy. So
that's a great analogy. Except I know when I'm throwing the water the handful of times, I just, whatever you see under the water, it's happening above.
You're no duck in the water.
Not yet. That's a goal of mine this year. So I did have a swimming lesson 3 weeks ago. It went well. And the idea is to continue that on probably like every other week basis. So who knows what I'll look like in the water coming the end of the year. But I think you were saying you want to pass it on to me, or do you have anything else that you want to add right now?
Oh, I mean, I'll throw in just some of my layoff stories after, but you can go ahead.
I mean, so from my perspective, similar, like, I'll call it college into the workforce type of experience. I majored in accounting, college. It's definitely something I understood. I was, really good at numbers and doing math in my head, but I didn't see myself as being a math teacher necessarily, like an actuariist or something to that effect. So I said, why not go for accounting? And by the time I got to junior, senior level classes, had those harder classes, I said, I don't know if I really like it, but I'm paying my way through college. I don't want another 2 years of, student debt and college debt. So I finished off with my accounting degree. But like you had mentioned, some of your classmates had internships at some really, awesome places, and just had basically line of sight to what was next. I didn't have that. And so I went on monster.com and started applying. I mean, I looked through even newspapers. So when I graduated, and fortunately, a month or so later, I've had a job at Mars as a finance coordinator, and I was so excited. My dad worked at Mars 40-ish years ago. He was a packer for just the main, we'll call it production area, not the My M&Ms, but would end up packing out the boxes. Back then it was like summers between school, so it was really kind of come full circle for me to work there. And on the finance side, I learned a lot. Had some really cool cube mates. CFO was great. And what really struck me though from accounting, you do a lot of debits and credits. It's a lot of behind the scenes. It's not a lot of this necessarily. It's a lot of data
Yeah.
manipulation, crunching. I didn't really like that too much. I understood it. I was good at
Mm.
it. And our friend Mark, or one of our coworkers, Mark, was in a role that I thought was more exciting. It was a business analyst type role, and he was working on some of the stuff for pricing for the special bags for my M&Ms, and it caught my eye, right? So ultimately, Mark had left the organization, and I applied for his job and got it, which I was so excited to even be in the running for it. And that opened my whole eyes and mind to a whole nother side of finance and just being like corporate finance, if you will, that is where my career blossomed, from, honestly. So in corporate finance, there's a couple different areas that you can, gravitate to. Generally speaking, it's either the accounting side and controllership, where
Mm.
you're really making sure the books are closed, you have the right accounting processes, etc. Everything is done, and it's for the most part black and white, right? This is how you record a transaction. What is on the finance or business partnership side is black white, but there's a much more gray area in there. And what I mean by that is, you don't have to price a certain product at $2.99. Maybe it's $3.19. Maybe the numbers don't work at $3.19 and you have to price it at $3.49, to the end consumer or
Mm.
to your wholesaler. And working on understanding margin. So how much does it cost to make this item? It was honestly exciting for me. And that's where my career developed. I was at Mars for 6, 7.5 years. Unfortunately, they were going through, some reorganizations. Every 12, 18 months, different organizations would, you know, go through it. Marketing, R&D, finance in particular. I received a promotion at one point through a reorganization. And then, I was told another one where I had 3 months left. So that was kind of,
Mm.
at Mars, that's what happened. And unfortunately, a lot of companies do that. So it's not just Mars in particular, but the learnings from Mars, being part of a big organization and getting a chance to understand how things work and really build those relationships cross functionally. So not just within the finance community, but in different areas and even in production, has been instrumental in terms of my success, like in my career. And I graduated from Mars. I went to Ferrero Chocolates, which is great. So if you know Nutella or Ferrero Rocher, Tic Tacs, that's your company. The Ferrero, a very great organization, family owned, Italian, heavy, where I would say 30, almost 40% of the workforce, even in the US, was Italian. And so I got to
Mm.
learn some Italian along the way. Really great. SAP. So I got to spend a lot of time on ERPs, and whether it's doing transactions, running reports, it was fun. And the CFO was great. I had a really good relationship with the CFO. And ultimately, what didn't happen at Ferrero was Mars, they shifted you around every 12, 18 months. Ferrero, I was in the same job for about 3 years, and I felt like I was tapped out. And unfortunately, there wasn't an opportunity for me there.
Yeah, no corporate
I would
ladder.
have
Yeah,
to,
that's important,
yeah,
right? Yeah, yeah. Everybody needs to feel that like there is some ladder laid out in front of you. There's something you're working for, right? Even if it's okay, in some
exactly.
cases it's just like it's the bonus or something. But in a lot of other cases, it's that whole ladder laid out in front of you. Like I can go here and I can jump there and there, and it feels like it's possible, right? Whereas
Yeah.
when it's just, I mean, it's the definition, dead end job, right? Nobody wants that.
Yeah, and at least the people, everything with Ferrero. Again, I've left. I feel like all my organizations on good terms, and especially on the relationship side of things. It was just time for change and time for honestly more responsibility. I
Yeah,
wanted
that's
something
just
more.
happens to be the lane that you fell in there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't
Yep.
mean like that company's even like that at all. I've definitely been a part of it. I've been at places where
Yeah.
it's just what the division I'm in or whatever. Like it's a dead end for me. I'm seeing other people getting promoted around, like
Yeah. Yep.
other parts of the organization, whatever. And, it's a dead end for me. So yeah, you have to identify that.
Absolutely. And I was recruited by a company to entertain an opportunity in upstate New York, which is where I'm at now. So I ended up taking an opportunity with Beech Nut Nutrition. They make baby food, really, I'll call it healthy baby food. And kind of piggybacking off those experiences, it added more responsibility. I was responsible now for, we'll call it a budget for a certain part of the business or a portion of the business, and getting to work for smaller organizations. So my career path had moved from multi-billion-dollar company to now, $200 million company. There was a lot more that I could get involved in, which was actually really exciting. And, my time at Beech Nut was great because of that. I got to work on a 5-year plan, and get to share and present that to the CFO and the executive team.
Yeah, that's something that's underrated, right? That a lot of people don't realize. Like sometimes you can work at one of these big behemoths, and you really can just be like a little cog in a wheel. Like that can happen, right? You're just there, like, oh, I raised this stamp and I stamp this thing, and the next one, you're like on an assembly line. That's one thing sometimes people don't realize. Like if they have too many things all figured out, they may just want you to be there just to be this little, one-dimensional kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, you might be able to get more of that like startup-ish type feel where there's more to do, there's more responsibility, there's more, like that's an underrated thing.
No, you're right, and ultimately, Beech Nut was a great experience because I really did get to interact with the executive team on a much regular basis, which was great. And in terms of my role, being able to present financial data not only to the finance team but to the broader organization and do monthly finance reviews was great. And from Beech Nut, again, continue this corporate ladder within finance, if you will, is your manager, maybe senior manager, director, and ultimately in my last 2 roles, I was responsible for the entire company's financial plan. So working with the marketing, the R&D teams, sales, etc., and production as well, and say, here's where we're at. Here are some goals and strategies that the company has. Here's where we need to go. And that has been really phenomenal in terms of not just relationship building, but growth for me in the career. And where I was at Taconic, so associate director of finance, I'm just throwing out titles because that might be relevant. But what was struggling there was they were going through quite a bit of change. My mom had been going through some stuff, and ultimately mom passed away during my time at Taconic. And I just felt like there was no breathing room. What we were trying to achieve, there wasn't enough, we'll call it, people to do that. And so what ultimately that meant was myself, a lot of the finance team working 7 to 7, 7 to 8, and then on the weekends. And so ultimately, I ended up leaving. I took a few months, but that's
work life balance. Yeah. That's definition of work life balance right there, or the opposite of it.
And it was work balance. It's a great point. So I found an opportunity with AngioDynamics. Great, another really great organization up here in upstate New York. They make medical ed tech industry. Great, another really great organization up here in upstate New York. They make medical devices or technology devices, I should say, for hospitals, for doctors, etc. And really got to build on my experience at Taconic on leading a company budget. I was thrown in, kind of the time frame was we were getting ready to do our budget. So learn the business quickly, but help us do the budget. 50, 60 Excel sheets, because every area of the business had their own way of planning it. And it was a lot more, I'll call it, technical and detailed than I had anticipated, or even what I was used to at Taconic doing a full company budget. But we ultimately got there. And unfortunately, at that time, the business was also looking to sell off a portion of their business. And they did that. And in doing so, they approached me and said, thank you for your time, but it's not going to be needed any longer. And it was what you mentioned earlier, too. It was all of a sudden. I had zero idea, unfortunately. This happens, especially in the U.S. corporate America type, they sometimes it's at will. There is no time needed to give you, a termination or remove your role. And I know I wasn't the only one, that was let go, and it was just it was tough because it was all
I
of a sudden.
I had one just like that. I was at this company in like the pharmaceutical services space, and everything was going great. I actually, it's one of the, I feel like it's one of the best stints that I've had. Like, I feel like I was really valuable there, really needed. Like
Yeah.
there was a lot of stuff that I did that, was really ingrained, and they didn't have other people to do it. And it was like, I learned a lot there. There was good, smart people around to learn things from. And we were merging with this other company. We had a merger,
Okay.
and
Yep.
it bring us down. And we have this presentation. We had this sort of like display area downstairs, or presentation space downstairs in the building, and all the CEOs together and everything. Right, they're talking about it. It's going to be so awesome. All this stuff. 15 minutes later, back upstairs, and I get called into the office, my manager's office, and I'm being let go after just being
After
down
this
there
meeting.
at the rally session. Like, that was really badly handled, in my mind.
Yeah.
I think they did a really bad job there with that. But that's the craziest, that's the most shocking layoff that I had. And I know, like, when I got called, I was the first one who got called in, and like I said, I mean, I think I was well respected there. When I came out and I was like, no, I'm gone. Everyone else in my little department there, we were all like, my group was all like physically there. They were just like, everyone was shocked, and they were just like, oh man, like we're all in danger now. So that was my time where it was shocking. This past one I just had, I won't call shocking. It was surprising. It's always surprising. But I wasn't shocked. That other one shocked me, especially after just hearing like how great it's going to be. I mean, that's crazy.
That's terrible timing. Just the way they handled that.
They have
like
all
you
these
said.
projections. They're talking about this merger is going to make us so strong. We're going to be this juggernaut. And then no, but not you. Nope, you're not you though. So that was crazy. Yeah.
No, it's tough, and I think right. We both have had some similar experiences in terms of layoffs and whatnot, but at the same time, what we both have been in this corporate America journey, feeling it in different aspects, getting to experience different things. I don't want to say I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. I think it's valuable lessons have been learned, throughout, my career, and I'm sure, yours as well. And, what this has happened though. So unfortunately, like you had said too, so I most recently, being let go, I am approaching the better half of a year of not having a normal job, let's say. But that time has really kind of broadened my horizon in terms of, how else can I contribute to society? How else can I add value to society? What else can I focus on? Focus on myself. I feel like a lot of the times, we end up being, we work a lot and we don't really take either time off or take the time to focus on ourselves. And, that this time has allowed me to do that. I completed the New York City Marathon, where, I don't know how that would have gone if I was working, let's say, full time. I've been working on myself in terms of keeping up with finance trends, looking at, industry, trends, and using AI, within finance. And there's some pros and cons to that. It's been great. I'm starting my own business, something that has been on my mind, and why not, take what I've learned. And again, more to share with that over the next, couple of weeks, let's say, but super excited, about this journey, and just, taking some, I'll call it inventory of where I want to go. And I think that's what's, certainly helped me over the last few months, is keeping a positive mindset. And, you've been a big part of that as well. It's all about, hey, crap happens to all of us in various ways. It doesn't have to just be work, but it's how you respond to it, how you carry yourself. and, you know, what you're going to do next, right? And having that sort of either vision or idea of, here's what I'd like to do, here's what I'd like to accomplish. And I know you've done a great job at, you know, honestly, just executing on various things, on remodels, on, you know, trying new, you know, we'll call it, you know, I'll call it music. You know, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
just
and I think for
trying new
me, in
stuff.
a lot of ways, is like I'm not as good at like, oh, laying out this. You're not going to find this like I have these milestones listed on some calendar or something, right? I just start doing stuff.
Yeah.
That you know, when I'm in a good mode, like that's what it looks like for me.
Yeah.
I'm just doing things. You know, I just get up and I'm like motivated, and I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do this little thing, and it leads to something over time. It somehow it snowballs and becomes some bigger thing. But yeah,
I
I'm
think
not
it's
good
great
at having
perspective.
this vision board type thing or whatever. I mean, I know some people are great with that.
Yeah.
But I guess, yeah, my best way of approaching things is just start doing it, you know, do one little thing at a time. And next thing you know, it just snowballs and, just
Yeah.
gets the ball rolling. And all of a sudden it's something that seemed so difficult is suddenly becomes fairly easy. Not easy, but you know, it becomes doable.
Yeah, and it's a great mindset. I have nothing else to add to that, because I think that's the way I feel like, you know, you should carry yourself. You know, there's a time, you know, to, we'll call it sulk, or just, you know, embrace what just happened, but, you know, take a look at things, and like you said, get started small. You know, get some quick wins done, and all of a sudden you'd be amazed at how much you can
Yeah.
accomplish in that time, on making small strides.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
great. And so, yeah, I mean, that's been, you know, my corporate America journey. And, you know, certainly, who knows, maybe in the coming months, you know, there's another you know, chapter to add to that. But is there anything that you want to add, you know,
Yeah, I
to
mean, I think for
your
me,
experience?
you know, in a little while from now, I'm sure I'll get sucked back into something. You know, I don't know. I may end up in like a hybrid type of scenario. I could see that because, you know, I'm picking up more and more of these music gigs. Let's say, for example, like if we could also do some like wedding type shows. I mean, you know, those pay a
Yeah.
lot more. Like it could be more
Yep.
financially feasible. And you know, I'm never looking at this like that would never be like, oh, that's half my income or something. I don't picture being like that. But if you told me like it could be like a quarter of my income, I could maybe see that. And then
Yeah.
you know, then I'm maybe doing a bunch of consulting work, you know, maybe it's like that, right? You know, hourly tech work,
Yeah. Yep.
music, yeah, who knows? Like maybe one of these online thing, maybe podcast, maybe somehow one of my social media accounts like gets popular. Who knows, right? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not counting on
Yep.
that at all. But you know, some combo of that of like you know, like more of a modern type thing than just this like slogging 9 to 5 lunch pail kind of life. Like
Yeah.
that's what I would love. I would love it to be this
Yep.
sort of blended thing,
Yeah.
balanced blended thing.
I, I like it. I think it's really good, you know, foreshadowing, because, you know, back in the day, I think, especially going to college or going even to high school, I think sets you up for getting a job, working 9 to 5. You're working for 40 years, right? So you won't retire until 65, 67, maybe
Mm-hmm.
by the time we retire, 80. But my idea, my vision is to be retired before then, you know, in my 50s. You know, I've got a financial plan
Mm,
on like when I want to retire, and it's
mm,
sooner than later. It's not 67, that's
mm.
for sure. So, you know, how do you make stride, like you said, strides towards that, and making sure that, you know, I will be able to retire at the age that I want to, or at least be able to choose a job or choose something that I want to do because I want to, not because I have to. And I think, that's what I'm working towards, and
Mm.
it's exciting, and having that sort of energy to say, let's do it. You know, like you mentioned, get up in the morning and say, I'm going to accomplish, you know, this, and this, and, you
Mm.
know, once you cross them off your list that day, let's say it's a small, even smaller task, you feel good about it.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. It's tough. You know, I think talking about career and experiences, there's some highs and lows, and then there's how you approach it. And I think, you know, certainly from what I hear from you too, is you've taken the high road. You know, not just on things that may not go as well, but just generally speaking, you've got a good outlook, and I think it's important. I think we all need that.
Yeah, there may have been some time in my life where, like, you know, some layoff like this would have been some devastating thing. Yeah, where I'm at, like, you know, I have these various passions and I have great people in my life. You know, you're part of that. You know, a good community that I interact with, this music community, just other people in my life. Like, um, yeah, I feel good. Like, you know, I feel like I just see all positives.
Yeah. That's important. Positivity. That's
Yeah.
what we're trying to do here, right?
Yeah.
So to kick, you know, I'll call it kick things off, to kind of finish things off for our episodes. We did some high fives in our first episode, and I think it went off well. You gave a great shout out, and we want to keep doing that. So each week, go through a high five. Who do we want to give a shout out to? And you know, I'll leave it up to you again. Which one or who or what, where is your shout out this week? And high five.
Yeah, yeah. You know, funny enough, like, I had various things I was considering, but yeah, somehow I ended up on like a sports based one again. So for me, it's the kickoff of the outdoor track season.
Yes.
I know it's big for
I can
us,
get
right? I
behind
mean,
it. Yep.
this is not going to be a unpopular opinion, right? Most people don't care that much about it. We know that. You know, we know it's not that
Yep.
popular, but I love it. You know, we love it. World records happening already. You know, very first meet. So that, you know, there's this Diamond League circuit, right? That probably most people wouldn't know about. You know, we know well. This is like the professional track meets, right? Where it's the invitationals where everybody comes out, and you don't have to run through rounds and stuff like at the Olympics, for example, right? You have to make it through like a grueling 4 rounds of stuff, and you know, it's a slog. These are like your invitational. You come in, everybody come in and just go nuts, right? And pole vault world record happened. I don't know if you saw women's side, the 1,500 meter record, like Faith Kipyegon.
She
almost lost her record.
I mean, I think it certainly was a Diamond League record or meet record.
Yeah.
Like, that was just unbelievable.
She was less than a second away from the world record. You know, season opener.
She destroyed that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and that's an unbelievable record too. I mean, you know, it's unbelievably 349 is the world record over 1,500 meters. Like, you know, try that. Everybody listening,
that's right.
Go see how fast you can run at 1,500 meters. That record almost just got broken, and all this like fun stuff's happening. So like I'm really thrilled. I'm excited about Olympics, Paris. You know, we talked about maybe an outside shot. Maybe we go check it out or something. Yeah, because I'm thinking about it. You know, I you know. I don't know. I don't know why I wouldn't, to be honest. Like, yeah, that's not so far away. It was 3 months away or something, right? I think.
I think
Olympics.
I feel like August time frame. Yeah. I swear I see the dates all the time and I forget it. So I don't know exactly when it is.
Okay, but yeah, that's my high five. All that whole thing. That's my high five of the week.
I think just to quickly add to that.
Yeah.
I just watched the high school girls 1 mile record go down.
Oh,
yesterday. I watched the video. So it didn't happen
I didn't see this one. But
Sadie Englehart. I mean, hopefully that name becomes a more popular name, you know, as the years go on. But she obliterated the high school record.
Wait, is that the girl?
Seconds off.
Is it the girl that's only like a sophomore or something? She's.
I think she's a junior now.
Maybe junior. Okay. I did hear about her. Yeah. She
took 4 seconds off.
That's
the high school record.
That's outrageous.
To do that is just that's nuts.
That's outrageous.
That's unreal. 4:31 and change, which I can't run that fast. So
no,
that's moving.
Yeah, we had a guy. I remember, you're right. When I was in high school, I ran track, and we had a guy who was fast. He was like competing for, you know, the county titles and stuff, and I think he was in like 450 range, something like that. He was good. You know, it was 450.
450.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's absurd.
Yeah, I
Okay.
got some work to do.
Yeah. All right. So what do you got? What do you?
Yeah, my shout out this week is, I don't say similar. It's not, but I have to give a shout out to all the race directors who organize these running events. So I say that because you end up, never giving credit to people behind the scenes, if you will, or not giving enough credit, maybe is the way to say it. So I ran a half marathon just the other weekend, and it was great. I had a great time. The execution, you talked about execution earlier in the podcast, phenomenal. Like they had over close to like 1,000 volunteers in terms of water stops and all that. Maybe it's closer to 500 volunteers, but everybody did their job. Everybody had a smile on their face, handing out the water, handing out stuff at the beginning when you did your gear check, and to make sure you had porta potties, everything lined up. We just had the London Marathon. We just had the Boston Marathon, and all the time and effort that goes into creating a successful event. I think just the congratulations, there's not enough of that going around. And, I definitely, want to thank our local group. They're called AREEP is the abbreviation, but they did a phenomenal job on this event. I know they do a few others, and then just thinking to some of the bigger events,
I saw that firsthand when you did the New York City Marathon. It was, that was an impressive, just overall production. It was, it was very impressive to see it.
They did a great job and made sure that there was enough food at the end. So there was a beer tent, but there was also food, little lunch boxes, if you will, that had sandwiches, little snack, etc., waters, Gatorade, chocolate milk, banana, whatever you wanted. There was enough for everybody, and people handing out medals. Again, smile on their face, really having fun with it. And I think that's what makes, these races and people wanting to do these races is the experience they get from it. Not just from maybe your friends and family, but all the people that organize it and make it fun.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's my high five.
Good one. Cool.
So, that's a very action-packed episode that we just had.
I think we went a little long. I feel like it's been great.
I think it's been great.
Okay.
I think
the
people,
that was good. Yeah.
People liked it.
Yeah. You can hear them cheering already.
Foreshadowing.
Okay.
I just hear it, all the clapping, but it's great. It's great conversation, and just a timely topic, good topic to talk about. And I think you definitely had a lot of great points in the conversation, and love just doing this with you. I think the podcast is better with you, Todd, and it's been fun. And I certainly look forward to the next one, and hopefully another one after that, maybe even one more.
That's it, right? Then we call it off.
That's right.
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, no, we'll start getting some guests in here and stuff like that, right? I think that'll be cool. Yeah, we'll get some flavor
absolutely.
in here. Yeah, cool.
We'll get that lined up. And again, I think for people out there that want to hear more, maybe they didn't catch the first episode. Yeah, Todd, where could they find us, or how do you think they could
all
get,
the socials,
get a hold of us?
HighFiveGuys, we expect to be on YouTube and just various podcast platforms, right? We're gonna push out to as many of those as we can. I mean, I think we don't even quite know what the exact technical challenges are yet. Is it like difficult to be on all the podcast platforms? Like I don't even know. I actually don't know. I've done YouTube stuff. I don't even know. I've never done a podcast before, so yeah.
Yeah, I think it seems easy, at least what we've come across. So hopefully sooner than later, like you said, all the favorite podcast mediums
the
that
Spotify's,
you all listen to.
the Apple podcasts, all that stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. So with that being said, wishing you all a great day. Todd, wishing you a fantastic rest of your day. We're gonna get after it again soon, I'm sure, and it's gonna be great. So thanks so much for joining us today on another High Five Guys podcast episode. So to that, have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
All right. See ya.